Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the June 2nd Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a Little Time for Myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I will take a moment and look this over. The question is, in what ways do I practice Al-Anon principles in my life today? And in the passage, the person who wrote it explains that they've read the steps and they apply them in the correct order. They are continuing to practice the principles in all their affairs. And that leads them to a spiritual connection with their higher power and harmony in their life. Today's reminder: practice is very important in our recovery. We just keep practicing over and over, and eventually we get stronger at applying the principles in our life, in our lives. The quote is from One Day at a Time in Al-Anon. We become stronger and more confident when we consistently work our program. In what ways do I practice Al-Anon principles in my life today? I think that most, if not every, action that I take has something to do with what I've learned in Al-Anon. Everything that I do, think, I know that sounds like a stretch, but I really do believe that everything that I practice in Al-Anon impacts every part of my life. And by attending meetings, by reading conference-approved literature, by keeping contact with my sponsor, it becomes more ingrained that all the principles, all the ideas, the concepts, the steps, the traditions, excuse me, everything just becomes like an automatic part of my life. Not that that makes it sound like I don't have to think about it, but that's not true. I think some of the things truly are automatic, but other things I have to think about. I have to think about a lot. And just the fact that I'm thinking about it, I think, is a really good sign that I am practicing the Al-Anon principles in my life. The fact that I'm aware of it and that I want to do it, that it's my goal, and I'm working on it every day. So that means that that I'm doing it on some level, and hopefully that will continue to improve and strengthen. Right now, what I'm dealing with is my stepmother being in the hospital and just remaining calm and being available for my dad and my stepmom. And they haven't asked for anything. I've been to visit once. They're only about 40 minutes away from where I live, and I'm planning to go back tomorrow. She's planning to be hospitalized for a few days, and she was just admitted yesterday. So it's difficult to know that she's uncomfortable. Like, I text my dad throughout the day, and the last text said she wasn't doing well, that she was very uncomfortable, and that the doctor was about to authorize morphine, which she has 2 infections, and one of them is a UTI, a urinary tract infection, and I think that the prognosis is that the antibiotics will work and that she will feel better and that she will be released. But it's not a straight path, her healing and her recovery. So I'm just really thinking about my Al-Anon and acting in a loving and compassionate way and realizing what's in my control and what's not. All right, I'm going to take a minute and look this over. This passage is about trusting our higher power. And just as a reminder, your higher power can be anything you want it to be, absolutely anything. Male, female, no gender, anything. Your higher power can be your meeting. You can call your higher power God. You can call your higher power anything that you want. All right, so it says, this person says, my higher power is worthy of trust. Their higher power has never let them down. They have problems, but they have learned from their problems. They have never been given a challenge that was more than they could handle. Even when they thought that maybe it was too much for them to handle, they received guidance and comfort to get through it. When they are in crisis, they are not fearful because they know they can rely on their higher power to work through whatever the issue is. Today's reminder: we can trust our higher power. And the quote is from Francis Bacon, and it says, experience is the best proof. That's a great reminder, especially for what I just said, that my stepmom has a higher power, my dad has a higher power, I have a higher power. My stepmom's doctors and nurses, They all have higher powers, and it is reasonable to trust those higher powers, that everything will be as it's supposed to be. We'll close out with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.